Guys, of course it's spreading. Of course it has left the borders of Iran. Of course it is now affecting other countries in the region. Of course it is now in Pakistan. Let's encounter it.
Major cities across the United States on high alert following the airstrikes that the U.S. and Israel launched against Iran. Those killed top leaders, including the Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Police departments in places like New York City and Los Angeles are increasing patrols at diplomatic missions, cultural institutions, and religious sites. For more on this, let's bring in Bernard Zaper. He is a former ATF special agent in charge, also faculty associate of terrorism and justice studies at Arizona State University. He also has worked extensively undercover. So as you assess the situation in this country, Bernard, how concerned are you that there will be some kind of blowback from the Iranians?
Like sleeper cell?
Well, we're very fortunate in that the blueprint and for our response to this has been laid out with the almost 2 decades worth of our involvement in the Middle East. And through the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and Department of Homeland Security, sharing operational law enforcement intelligence, we have the ability to be in front of state actors as well as people that would be criminally radicalized, for example, in the country that may be of concern. So there's a lot of work on the front end on criminal intelligence and contact interviews to gather information about people that might do something here domestically. And that is shared at all levels of law enforcement. So very confident about our ability to get in front of potential acts.
Okay.
We're just getting word that the U.S. Consulate in Karachi, Pakistan, is under some kind of an attack. Attack might be too strong a word, but hundreds of protesters apparently have stormed the U.S. Consulate in Karachi in response to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. And of course, it brings back memories of what happened at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979 when really our terrible relations with Iran began.
Started.
It's not just in this country, obviously, Bernard, that Americans have to be concerned at this moment.
Absolutely. I mean, we're dealing with 1,000 years for revenge, essentially, of radicalized Islam and people that call to what they believe is the duty in response to the U.S. involvement in the region. And it is something that is anticipated, and we have to anticipate and do everything we can to make sure it does not touch the domestic U.S. or our citizens abroad.
Yeah, guys, the citizens abroad is definitely going to be the issue here. It may not be a really good time to be an American pretty much in any of the countries that are currently being targeted, let's just say this year, or countries where there may be a similar religion, let's say majority to Iran.
Know that, millions of people crossed the border under the Biden administration, many of whom we don't know anything about their background or where they came from, who they are. How concerned are you that there are sleeper cells, Iranian sleeper cells in this country right now who are waiting to do the bidding of whatever government
is left,
was there, or is established out of the rubble?
It's a legitimate concern.
It
has been found and documented in the capture of Middle Eastern men that are coming from various parts of the region with a very central ideology, anti-U.S., anti-Israel, here in the U.S. illegally for the purposes of causing disruption and terrorism. So it's something that is an active concern and a very proactive, let's say, investigation or operation to identify and remove such people. But they have been documented and found here. It is a legitimate concern at the moment and has been for some time.
Can the FBI and agencies like the ATF, can they get a handle on some of these people who've made it in?
Okay. Let's see.
It's really interesting. After the attacks of 2001, there was very quickly lists developed, for example, of Middle Eastern men that were on expired visas in the United States. They had followed the profile of the original hijacking conspiracy at the time. And there was extensive contact interviews done, which yielded a lot of information as to motive and intent some of which was not nefarious. It was an attempt for people to make money in this country, but even though they're here unlawfully. But that blueprint is carried forward in the following 2 decades. And so very confident that there is the ability to intercept when known, but we still have to have a very prudent response, both as citizens when people hear or they're aware of something, to bring that to the attention of the Joint Terrorism Task Force or their local police department. Because there's always that chance that you have the small cells of people operating that have gone under the radar and were not detected. And it's a legitimate concern because we're talking about a massive clash of historic ideology, and from a country currently that has exhibited and stated a hate for the United States and a hate for Israel.
Big Satan.
And their continuing attempt to have the ability to destroy both. So it's a vanguard approach, and all of us need to be aware and communicative about it.
Okay. Listen, like if we were able to actually intercept them at the southern border, trying to break into our country, then yeah, I'm sure we have the ability to kind of see who they are, kind of research them, Interpol, et cetera, kind of figure out exactly what they're about, if that makes any sense here. But I think the main concern in terms of like sleeper cells are generally going to be rooted in the gotaways, guys, like the ones who we have no idea who they were, bro. They just snuck in while Biden was in office.
So the slogan, if you see something, say something, is particularly appropriate now.
Right
you
now,
urge Americans to be kind of on the lookout
vigilant
for anything unusual.
Absolutely.
We're getting word that this attack in Karachi involved hundreds of people storming the embassy, smashing windows. It says that police and paramilitary forces there fired tear gas and used batons to disperse the crowd. One person was actually killed. So Americans really all over the globe need to be concerned right now and take steps to ensure their safety.
specifically in certain places.
Undoubtedly, and it's a concern in all these locations because, again, it's a class of ideology, and we have a battle that's going on that is historic in nature, and people are called to arms for this, and they are our enemy, and they see any Americans and Westerners in general as a target of
Westerners
opportunity.
Yeah.
So would you expect that the danger is going to be eliminated once the attacks on Iran stop, or is this something we have to worry about for the next 6 months, year? How long does the threat of blowback in this country, how long does that exist?
In this country, okay.
This is decades and centuries. It has been going on for some time. It is not going to be mitigated with the political resolution here, because again, we have an ideology that identifies us in the U.S. and the West as the enemy of God, essentially. And people are called to respond, and it goes on really in perpetuity. So the level of awareness has to be maintained, and the realization that we are dealing with something that is an historic class of theology, ideology, politics, and that people are committed to it in a way that makes them incredibly dangerous. And so we have to keep the awareness going forward. This is just another one of the heightened calls for people that radicalize in this area, and it is not going to diminish on this outcome.
No, it's not. It's not, guys. Like, listen, diametrically opposed views in like a small space is troubling. Like, understand, we kind of already have that kind of moving around the United States of America right now, in terms of the left and the right. Both sides basically hate each other, won't sit down and talk to each other. Again, look at the State of the Union for that reference point. Look at how that went. Trump says something, his side, stands up, cheers, standing ovation type of thing here. And then you have the Democrats on the other side, silently protesting, sitting down, literally just looking at Trump like he's an absolute imbecile, right? So that's basically our country right now. We kind of are already experiencing it. But now imagine if your viewpoint and standpoints are rooted into something that makes you exactly who you are, referring to whichever religion you chose to basically be, or your parents made you, if that makes any sense here, right? So now American soldiers are fighting for the idea, let's say, of patriotism, and their country, etc. Right? But these other people are fighting because God told them to fight. Do you understand? I want you to understand how wild this is here. And this is why when I heard that, this whole Iran thing was going on, I was just like, dudes, no, please, no, not Iran, not Iran. Okay. Because they are absolutely zealots. All right. Like their entire government is set up to basically say, if it's not in my book of worship, then it's wrong. Okay. Like, do you understand how technology has changed and like society has changed since the book of worship was written? Like there are probably going to be some gaps here, guys. Then obviously they utilize like the proxies to basically do things kind of outside of their religion, potentially, right? And this is just the internal corruption, et cetera, right? But like, listen, let me kind of pull back to the sleeper cell idea. Do I think that could be a thing? It could be a thing, right? But do I think that? I think multiple countries most likely have this type of thing inside of the United States of America. I hope that it is not something that actually ever happens, because obviously we don't really want, lives lost over ideologies like that. But I definitely hope that this does not come to fruition here, bro. And the fact that now this is starting to spread over like a protest in Pakistan, guys, that also is something that's a little bit crazy here. It's spreading all throughout the region right now, bro. How do we kind of bring this back in and say, guys, listen, this is happening because it has to happen, right? But obviously the people that are, there's always going to be someone who is, again, diametrically opposed to whatever we are, and as we are generally to what they are, right? So we're stuck in a rock and a hard place, and we definitely have the military, backing to basically fix the problem that they can't. If that makes any sense, guys. We'll see where this goes. It doesn't look like this is ending anytime soon, even though Trump says it's going to be like the next couple of days or something, but I don't see it ending anytime soon. I think every single day we're going to wake up to a brand new crazy story, bro. My opinion. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.